This is a video tutorial for practice exercise 2A. We're going to sketch and edit some elements. So mainly in this exercise we're going to practice using the wall tool and some of the temporary dimensions which you learned about in your activities earlier on. Okay, so let's get started. Make sure that you are completing all the tasks. Even though I ask you to take screenshots of specific steps, you still have to complete all the steps in order for the end product to turn out correctly. Okay, so it says that we're going to go in the File tab and we're going to click New Project. So you can also do it from here. You can just say New, and then it will bring up that you're creating a new project. So make sure that you're not creating a template. That is something different, but we're creating a new project. And it says we should create an architectural template. And then we're going to say OK. Once it opens, we're going to go to the Quick Access toolbar, which is up at the top. Remember, it's up here. And we're going to select Save, and you're going to save it as simplebuilding.rvt. Now, you don't need to type in the .rvt because you'll see that the types of file, the project files already save as .rvt, which means it's saving as a Revit file. So go ahead and hit Save. And when you save the project, you'll notice that at the top of your screen, the project name updates. So now it's called Simple Building. In the Architecture tab, we're now going to click on Wall. And it doesn't tell us what wall to use, so we're just going to keep it with the basic generic wall. And it says to sketch a rectangle that's 100 by 70. So the location line will be important in this exercise. I'm going to leave it on wall center line just to show you what happens when I try to draw a rectangle to a certain size. So I'm going to go over 100 feet, and then I'm going to go down 70 feet. Okay, now I'm going to dimension this, and this isn't part of the exercise, but I just want to show you. I'm going to dimension it to the wall face, so that's the outside face of this wall, and to the outside face of this wall. And you're going to see that I drew it as 100, but it comes out 100 feet 8 inches. And the reason that's occurring is because when I drew it to the center of this wall. This wall is 8 inches thick. So the center of the wall would be 4 inches. So it's adding 4 inches onto every side. Now, I can adjust this, and I'll show you how to do that. Or I could have drawn it the correct way to begin with. So first, let me show you how to adjust it. If we take a look at step number 6, it's telling you they drew it off as well. So it's showing you how to use temporary dimensions to adjust the size of your rectangle. Now, what you want to do is you want to click on the wall that you want to move. So I'm going to move this wall up. And then I'm going to use this dimension that I created right here, and I'm going to change it so that it reads 70 feet, and I'm going to hit Enter. So what it did was it moved this highlighted wall up. Okay? Now you'll notice this dimension, which is another temporary dimension, see it's in blue, says 69 feet 4 inches, but that's because this witness line is being directed to the center of the wall again. If you want this dimension to appear correctly, you would have to move the witness line. So there's a little dot right here, and if you hover over it, it says Move Witness Line. And if you keep clicking on the dot, it'll move the witness line from the inside of the wall to the outside of the wall. So you want it to be on the outside of the wall. And then you can do it down here as well. Alright, so now you see that your temporary dimension also reads 70 feet. And now I need to make this rectangle 100 feet instead of 100 feet 8 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this wall. And instead of using the dimension I created, I'm going to move this temporary dimension just so you guys can get used to it. So again, I'm going to click on this dot to move the witness line, and I want the witness line to be to the outside face of the wall. So I'm going to do it on both sides. Then I'll go into where this dimension says 100 foot 8. I'm going to type 100 feet and then hit Enter. And then that moved this wall in 8 inches so that I have a 100 by 70 foot rectangle. Now if you wanted to draw this properly from the beginning, I'm just going to scroll over here so I can show you. I would select wall, and what I would want to do is I would want to say from the finished face exterior is how I want to draw the wall, and then I would go over 100 feet and then down 70 feet and then back over. All right, so now if I dimension this wall, you're going to see that it's actually 70 feet. So in that instance, when I drew the wall, it was already measuring to the outside face of the wall instead of the center line. I'm just going to delete that. So again, make sure that when you're drawing, you're always drawing between these little markers here. These are elevation markers. They're used so that the program can understand where you want to see your exterior elevations, okay? So if you draw outside of them, you won't have any exterior elevations, so you always draw within them. They can be moved if your building gets too close to them. You can move them up and down, okay? But always draw in between them. All right, so we're going to go back to our instructions here, and I'm on step number 7, and it says that we're trying to show the horizontal wall dimension. So we want to see the horizontal wall dimension, and to do that you can use your temporary dimension. Make sure that it's pointed to the outside of the wall, and then you would just click on this little icon right here and it says make this dimension permanent. Okay, so Revit's cool because it's always giving you instructions for how to do things. You just have to slow down a bit. Alright, so I should be able to see these dimensions around your building, so the 100 and the 70 feet. The next thing that we're going to do is we are going to build another wall. So we're going to come over to the wall tool, and we are going to draw a wall. It says draw a horizontal wall that is 8 feet above the middle horizontal wall. Okay, so I think to find the middle of the wall, you'll use your grips. So you'll see this triangle up here, that's the midpoint of my wall. I'm going to draw a wall from midpoint to midpoint. And then what I'm going to do is I can use the offset command to draw an 8-foot wall above this. So I'm going to click on the wall and then say offset, and I'm going to go 8 feet. Okay? And then you check copy because otherwise it deletes the original wall you offset from. And then I'll do that. Alright, so that's 8 feet. And then I'm going to draw a vertical wall 16 feet from the left wall. So now I'll click on this wall, offset, and I'm going to say 16 feet. Click on the wall, make sure that little blue line pops up, and there's 16 feet. Okay? So now we should be showing those dimensions. So there's 16 feet. Now let's try to use the same dimension that we did before. So if it's to the outside, there we go, 16 feet, and then we'll mark that as a permanent dimension. And really this should be pulled down underneath because you always have the shorter dimensions first and then the longer. Now it didn't say to do it from outside face to outside face, but I wanted you to do that just because we had just done it for these and I want you to practice. Okay, and I'm just going to fix this dimension too to go to the outside. There we go, to make everything even. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a circle. So we're going to go to the draw panel. So we're going to go back to the wall tab, and then in the wall tab we have a draw panel, and we're going to click on the circle. And then we want to sketch a 14-foot radius. So right here we're going to check radius, and we want to say 14 feet. And then we're going to find the midpoint of the wall. So we're looking for that triangle again. And then we're going to click. Okay, so now we have a radius of actually is interesting because it says 13 foot 8, so it should be 14 feet. I'm going to modify that, and we're going to modify this one too to make sure that it's 14 feet. Okay, and now it got real weird, so it looks like a little odd blob. Let's redo that. So I'm going to hit undo and figure out what I did wrong. So wall, circle, radius, 14 feet. Oh, I see. We need to go to the interior of the wall. Actually, it looks like in our picture it's going to the center line. So now we find that again, and there we are, 14 feet, and we just want to mark that dimension. Okay. So make sure that you show all these dimensions and that you have a good screenshot of that that's clear and easy to see. Now I feel like something weird is happening here. This doesn't look like the book. So I'm going to take a look at my picture. Yeah, I need to trim this wall here, so I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to use the trim tool, and then I'm going to click where I want the trimming to stop, and then I'm going to click on the object I want to keep. Okay, so you should have practiced this already. I won't go through it too much. Now moving on to step number 17. So it says in the type selector, select wall, and then select basic wall, generic 12-inch. Oh, pardon me. We're going to select the outside walls first. So you can do this by holding down the control button on your keyboard, and see my mouse just has a little plus sign. So we're going to select all the outside walls. Then I'm going to select basic generic 12-inch. So it makes the thickness of these walls a bit bigger. So you'll notice it changed my dimension too, because now it says 100 feet 4 inches, and this is 70 feet 4 because it made a 12-inch wall. Okay. Now it says select the vertical interior wall. So this one, we're going to select it, and we're going to change it to the one of the smaller partition styles. So let's select interior 3 1/8 partition. Then the last thing that we're going to do, and you'll see now all my dimensions are totally changing, and what I want to do is really, this is bothering me, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to fix them. 100 feet, I'm going to move this wall so it's back to 16 feet. Remember, you click on the wall you want to move, and then I'm going to move this one so it's back to 70 feet. There. Alright, and now I'm going to add a door. So I'm going to say door. And then it wants us to click tag on placement right here. So we're going to tag it on placement. And we're going to place the door anywhere along the hallway right here. So we want to place the door. I'm going to select modify to deselect that. Now I'm going to select the door, and it says to use temporary dimensions so that it's 2'6" from the right vertical wall. And actually I just happened to place it perfectly, so I am not going to do anything except for just make that dimension permanent so I can see the 2'6". And then if you type ZE, it will zoom out and you can see the whole view. Make sure that when you're taking screen captures of dimensions that you get close enough so that I can read them, but then you also show me an overall view as well. So that's the end of practice exercise 2A. Remember to go slowly. Practice with the temporary dimensions like I did. Keep making them the right size. These are important basic tools to be able to get started in Revit.